Imagine someone who doesn't speak loudly, doesn't force their presence, doesn't try to impress, and yet dominates any environment they enter. Not because they seek attention, but because they carry a silent certainty that few understand, and many fear. This person doesn't seem to need to prove anything. They simply are. And that is enough to alter the dynamics around them. People like this don't ask for space. The space adjusts to their presence. Eyes follow. Voices hesitate. Competitors retreat. What is happening here? The answer is far from the clichés of self-esteem or the false self-love sold out there. Science has a name for this phenomenon: self-efficacy. And the term was coined by psychologist Albert Bandura, one of the most respected names in 20th century psychology. His thesis is simple and deeply uncomfortable for modern thought. Real confidence is not a vague feeling of well-being with oneself. It is a deep, almost unshakable belief that you are capable of doing what needs to be done. And this belief, when present, literally transforms the way the world responds to you. What Bandura revealed in his studies is something many prefer to ignore. Confidence is not an emotional luxury. It is a mechanism of power. It alters the opportunities that arise, the outcomes you reap, and more importantly, the way others perceive you. People with high self-efficacy are perceived unconsciously as figures of authority even when they don't say a word. They command respect, not by imposition, but by conviction. They don't need to threaten or show off. Their simple internal certainty creates an atmosphere around them that others pick up on without understanding. And this perception changes everything. In social interactions, they don't shrink away. They don't apologize for existing. They occupy space naturally. In negotiations, they don't convey desperation. And because of that, they achieve more. In relationships, they don't tolerate disrespect. And because of that, they attract higher value partners. In the professional environment, they act as if they are already one level above. And because of that, they get promoted. This silent yet dense confidence is perceived as a kind of psychological gravitational field. And like any intense gravitational field, it attracts some, repels others, and intimidates many. In this video, we will explore what exactly this invisible force that Bandura identified as self-efficacy is. We will understand why it provokes such intense reactions, how it is built at a neurological level, and why confident people tend to get lucky, while others seem perpetually trapped in failure, even with talent. And above all, we will uncover how you can build this confidence that doesn't need to shout because it is already heard before you even open your mouth. This is not a video about fake it till you make it. It is a deep dive into the psychology of presence, conviction, and the silent power that arises when you stop doubting yourself and start operating at a level where most have never dared to tread. Are you ready? Because from here on, you may never see confidence the same way again. Albert Bandura not only redefined how psychology understands confidence, he shattered one of the most dangerous illusions that society insists on maintaining: the idea that success depends solely on talent, luck, or charisma. What he revealed was much more uncomfortable and infinitely more powerful. Success, influence, respect, leadership, all of this revolves around something invisible, yet profoundly real: the belief that you are capable of acting effectively in the face of life's challenges. This belief has a name: self-efficacy. Unlike common self-esteem, which revolves around feeling good about oneself, self-efficacy is about doing. It is about believing, firmly and unwaveringly, that you have the necessary ability to handle what lies ahead. And this belief not only affects how you feel, it changes what you do, what you achieve, and how the world responds to you. Bandura demonstrated that this internal conviction, is the decisive psychological factor that separates those who advance from those who stagnate. And this difference begins at the deepest level. The way you perceive your own ability determines your behavior. Those who believe they are capable act more decisively, try more often, persist more in the face of difficulties, and consequently achieve more results. These results reinforce their belief. And thus, the cycle of true self-confidence is born. It is what Bandura called the self-efficacy reinforcement cycle. Belief, action, result. Reinforcement of belief, bolder action, greater results. This cycle becomes a field of exponential growth. The more you believe in yourself, the more you achieve, and the more you achieve, the more you believe. But what almost no one realizes is that there is the opposite side of this mechanism. The failure cycle. People with low self-efficacy try less, give up faster, fail more often, and use each defeat as confirmation that they really are not good enough. And this traps them. The most brutal part of it all, the difference between these two destinies is not talent. It is belief. Bandura showed that self-efficacy can be developed. It is not a gift one is born with, but a systematic construction. And when this construction reaches critical mass, something changes profoundly. You stop doubting, you stop asking for permission, you stop needing validation. Your body language changes, your tone of voice changes, your way of walking changes. Your nervous system begins to operate on another level, and the people around you feel it, even if they cannot explain it. And that is where discomfort comes in, because most people live immersed in doubt, insecurity, and comparison. When someone appears and breaks this pattern with a solid, clear, and unwavering presence, the impact is almost visceral. This person does not need to speak loudly or impose themselves. They simply are. And that is enough. Others feel destabilized, not because they are facing arrogance, but because they are in the presence of someone who believes in themselves in a way they have never believed. This is the root of the confidence that intimidates. It is not performative. It does not need applause. It emanates from the certainty built from internal evidence. And now that you understand what truly lies behind genuine confidence, the inevitable question arises, how do you build it? In the next part, we will explore exactly that. How self-efficacy manifests as power presence, and why this presence almost magically alters how others perceive and behave around you. If this content is making sense to you, click the subscribe button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for your support. Have you ever noticed how certain people enter a room and automatically everyone pays attention? They don't need to raise their voice, dress in flashy clothes, or make an effort to be noticed. They simply exist with such intensity that the environment changes around them. This almost magnetic presence is not luck or a mysterious gift. It is the direct result of internalized self-efficacy, the kind of confidence that Albert Bandura described, the one built on real evidence, not illusions. This power presence is not an esoteric concept. It is a physiological and behavioral manifestation of internal certainty. When someone has full conviction in their ability, it naturally expresses itself in their body, upright posture, measured gestures, steady gaze, absence of social anxiety, calm breathing, and no compensatory movements like nervous laughter or fidgeting. The voice gains firmness. The pauses are longer. There is no rush to fill the silence, because those who are certain do not chase validation. This presence is perceived viscerally by others, even if they do not consciously understand what is happening. The human brain, equipped with neural circuits dedicated to social reading, like the amygdala and prefrontal cortex, picks up nonverbal signals of dominance or submission in milliseconds. It is the same mechanism that operates in social animals. In any species, those who demonstrate conviction with their body command respect. And this applies in the boardroom, on a date, in casual conversation, or in a job interview. Bandura showed us that genuine confidence shapes how others treat you. This means that, contrary to popular belief, it is not others who first validate you so that you feel confident. It is you who becomes confident, and the world responds to that. Those with self-efficacy do not beg for space, do not seek approval, do not compete for crumbs of attention. These people act as if they already belong to the next level, and ironically, because of that, they come to belong. In negotiations, this posture disarms the other party. In social interactions, it sets boundaries without the need for confrontations. In relationships, it repels abusive behaviors because it communicates, "I do not tolerate this." In professional contexts, this silent presence is read as natural leadership. It's as if you are constantly emitting an invisible message. "I know what I'm doing, and I don't need your permission to do it." But this intimidating presence also unsettles. Insecure people who operate in defensive mode feel threatened not because you are aggressive, but because you exist with a strength they have not developed. You mirror to them what they are not yet. And the human ego has a hard time dealing with that. That is why truly confident people generate extreme reactions, intense admiration, or silent discomfort. It is important to understand that we are not talking here about performative arrogance or superficial domination. We are talking about something deeper, an internal state in which you know you are capable, and that knowing manifests in every aspect of your expression. This certainty is what creates what we call high psychological frequency. And when you operate in it, others feel it. The world bends, not out of submission, but out of instinctive recognition of competence. But now comes the most important question. If this presence is built and not innate, how exactly does it develop? What are the practical steps to start building this kind of silent confidence that alters the environment around you? This is exactly what we will explore next, diving into the 4 neurological pillars of self-efficacy, defined by Bandura, that can reprogram how your brain interprets your own ability. And it all starts with a simple yet revolutionary concept: mastery experiences. Bandura not only explained what self-efficacy is, he unveiled a brutal truth that most prefer to ignore. Confidence is not an advantage. It is a survival mechanism. And this mechanism works like a hidden cycle, a psychological feedback system that silently and relentlessly separates those who advance in life from those who sink in it. Understanding this cycle is crucial because it shapes not only your outcomes, but your identity. And the most disturbing part? You are already trapped in one of these cycles, whether you realize it or not. The self-efficacy cycle works like this. The more you believe you are capable, the more you try. The more you try, the more experiences you accumulate. The more experience, the greater your chance of success. And when success comes, it is not just an outcome. It becomes living proof that your belief was real. This reinforces your confidence, which makes you act bolder, take on new challenges, and repeat the cycle at an even higher level. Over time, this spiral accelerates. The person becomes a force that seems unstoppable, not due to excessive talent, but because they have learned to believe in themselves before the world does. This cycle explains why confident people seem to get lucky. They show up more, expose themselves more, ask more, negotiate better, take risks. And because of this, they inevitably reap more opportunities. Luck is not a random force. It is a frequency you only access when your behavior aligns with the belief that you deserve to be where you are. On the other hand, the insecurity cycle is a camouflaged prison of protection. People who doubt themselves avoid risks. They fear looking incompetent, so they don't try. Since they don't try, they don't have positive experiences. Since they don't have experiences, they don't build confidence. And since they don't trust themselves, they try even less, until fear becomes their identity. I'm not good at this. This isn't for me. I always fail. These phrases are not truths. They are symptoms of a brain that has learned to fail before even acting. This downward cycle of insecurity is devastating because it feeds back more easily than the positive cycle. A small failure can be interpreted as proof of incompetence, leading to paralysis, self-sabotage, and a strategic withdrawal from the game of life. And the cruelest part: talent does not save anyone from this cycle. Millions of talented people are trapped in the spiral of failure, not due to a lack of ability, but due to a lack of belief. A defeated mind is more powerful than any gift. And this is where Bandura's thesis becomes revolutionary. You can break out of this cycle, but not with empty positive thoughts or affirmations in the mirror. The only real way is to build new evidence. You need to reprogram your brain to believe in yourself again. And this only happens when you start to act strategically to break the downward spiral and activate the self-confidence cycle. But how? How do you build such a solid foundation of internal belief that it survives fear, failure, and doubt? Bandura gives us this answer in his central theory. There are 4 specific pillars that support self-efficacy. 4 mechanisms that directly affect the brain, shaping your perception of who you are and what you are capable of. In the next section, we will dive into the first of these pillars: mastery experiences, the fundamental building block of real confidence, and the starting point for anyone who wishes to break free from stagnation and rebuild their identity towards empowerment. If the confidence that intimidates is an internal fortress, the first block of this construction, according to Albert Bandura, is what he calls mastery experiences. This is the most robust pillar of self-efficacy, as it is based on something the brain respects above all: evidence. While most people seek confidence through positive thinking or motivational quotes, Bandura got straight to the point. What truly convinces your brain that you are capable is when you prove it in practice with small, real victories. The common mistake of those who want to be more confident is trying giant changes, like, I'm going to become a different person overnight. This almost always ends in frustration. The human brain, when exposed to challenges far above its current level, goes into defense mode. And when you fail in that exaggerated attempt, it reinforces the idea that you are not good enough. What Bandura proposes is the opposite: progressive, controlled, and strategic advancement. A small challenge, successfully overcome, is worth much more to the brain than a failed, risky leap. The method is simple, but it requires discipline. Choose a specific skill that intimidates you today. Nothing generic like being more sociable. That is too vague. Choose something concrete: giving a presentation, starting a conversation, setting a boundary, recording a video, showing up in an uncomfortable situation. Then, break that skill down into smaller parts and master one per week. By the end of 3 months, you will have accumulated 12 specific victories, 12 concrete proofs, 12 moments recorded by your mind as confirmation of competence. This process changes the structure of your identity. It doesn't matter if others recognize it, your brain already does. And that is enough for your posture, your voice, your energy, and your way of acting to start changing. Real confidence is silent because it comes from certainty, and certainty only arises from experience. But Bandura knew that not everyone is ready to act right away. Sometimes doubt is so deep that it paralyzes, and that is why he presented the second pillar of self-efficacy: observational learning. This pillar is based on the idea that by observing other people, similar to us, overcoming challenges and achieving success, our brain begins to see the real possibility that we are also capable. We are not talking here about following celebrities or idealizing distant people. What really works is observing real individuals with stories close to yours, who started from the same point and reached where you want to go. This activates a brain system called mirror neurons, which literally simulates within you the actions and achievements you are observing in others. In other words, the success of others, when perceived as plausible, begins to be internally rehearsed by you. 3 people, 3 stories, 3 examples of victory in the same areas where you feel fear or insecurity. When you consume these references strategically, your brain begins to dismantle the belief that this is not for me. It stops seeing success as something unattainable and starts considering it a legitimate possibility. This breaks the cycle of resignation and puts you in motion. These 2 pillars, real practice and exposure to real models, build the foundation of a mind that believes in itself based on evidence, not hope. But even with all this, there is a variable that can silently sabotage this process: the environment around you. Because you may be trying to grow, develop, challenge your limits, and be surrounded by people who, consciously or unconsciously, are poisoning your self-confidence. In the next section, we will talk about the 3rd pillar of self-efficacy, social influence, and why what people say, how they treat you, and what they project onto you may be determining how much you believe in yourself or not. If what you're hearing resonates with you, you'll find real value in my ebooks. Beyond the Shadow breaks down Jung's core ideas, while Dialogues with the Unconscious gives you a 30-day path to apply them in your life. Both are linked in the pinned comment. You may be doing everything right, accumulating small victories, observing people who have reached where you want to go, reprogramming your perception of ability. Yet something still seems to pull you back, a lingering doubt, a hesitation that reappears. What Bandura discovered is that this may not come from within, but from outside. Your social environment has a direct and profound impact on how you see yourself, and this influence often operates invisibly. The 3rd pillar of self-efficacy is what Bandura called social persuasion, the impact of the messages you receive from others about your ability. And this influence is not limited to words of encouragement. It involves looks, subtle judgments, veiled criticisms, dishonest compliments, constant comparisons, silent exclusions. All of this is interpreted by your brain as data about your worth, your competence, your potential. Over time, these small messages build or destroy your self-image. Think about how many times you refrained from trying something because someone said it wasn't for you. How many times did you feel stuck because you were ridiculed for trying something new? How many times did you slow down your own growth to avoid bothering others? This is not weakness, it is social conditioning. Humans are biologically shaped to seek belonging, and when that belonging requires you to stay small, you learn to sabotage yourself to avoid exclusion. Bandura was clear. A single voice that believes in you can be more powerful than 50 that tolerate you condescendingly. Confidence can be built from within, but it needs fertile ground around it. This means that if your environment is made up of people who constantly doubt, belittle, mock, or protect you from taking risks, your mind begins to accept these limitations as truths. And this does not always come in the form of an attack. Sometimes, the enemy of your confidence disguises itself as care. Don't take risks with that now. Wait a little longer. You already have a good life. Why complicate things? That's something for lucky people. The intention may even seem good, but the impact is devastating because it conveys the message that you are not ready, that you are not capable, that you need to be protected from yourself. On the other hand, when you are exposed to people who see your potential, who challenge you to level up, who treat your growth as something natural and expected, something within you begins to change. Confidence becomes a consequence of the environment. You start to behave according to what others expect of you, and if those expectations are high, you rise to meet them. Therefore, one of the most powerful actions to develop self-efficacy is to conduct a radical audit of your social circle. Ask yourself, who are the people that reinforce your strength? Who are the ones that feed your doubt? Who challenges you? Who anesthetizes you? And have the courage to adjust that environment. Bandura made it clear, people do not live in isolation. They are shaped, reinforced, and influenced by their social networks. If you want to change your destiny, you need to change the field where your mind develops. But even the best environment does not eliminate a crucial challenge, your body. Because even when everything seems aligned, there is one last obstacle that can sabotage your performance: the way your nervous system interprets fear. Doubt often is no longer in your mind. It is in your body, in the way it reacts to the unknown. In the next section, we will explore the fourth and final pillar of self-efficacy, physiological states, and how controlling your biological response to stress can be the key to accessing your maximum confidence under pressure. Most people think that confidence is a mental state, but what Albert Bandura revealed, and what neuroscience today confirms, is that true confidence starts in the body. You may have accumulated successful experiences, have inspiring role models, be surrounded by supportive people, and still, at the moment of action, feel your heart racing, your breath becoming shallow, your hands sweating, your mind freezing. And in that moment, you conclude, I am not capable. But you are wrong. What is failing here is not your mind. It is your interpretation of your own body. The fourth pillar of self-efficacy is the control of physiological states, the way you perceive and respond to the physical reactions triggered by challenging situations. Bandura observed that people with high self-efficacy do not ignore these reactions. They reinterpret what is happening inside them. While the insecure feel anxiety and say, I am afraid, the confident feel the same symptoms and say, my body is preparing to perform at a high level. The difference is not in biology, it is in the narrative. The same racing heartbeat can mean panic or excitement. The same butterflies in the stomach can mean threat or enthusiasm. And this is not a mental trick. It is a physiological lever that changes your internal state in real time. When you master this, you begin to transform anxiety into directed energy, tension into readiness, discomfort into presence. Bandura also pointed out the power of practical techniques that help regulate these states. Expansive body posture, which activates hormonal systems linked to dominance. Conscious breathing, which calms the brain's amygdala and reduces the fight or flight response. And specific visualization of success, which trains the brain to recognize the future as something familiar, not threatening. These techniques are not coaching tricks. They are strategies validated by behavioral psychology and neuroscience. When applied consistently, these practices build a body that responds to stress with focus, not with withdrawal. A body that understands that pressure is not a sign of danger. It is a sign that something important is at stake. And it is this type of body, this trained nervous system, that sustains real confidence. Because the mind can say, you can do it. But if the body says, we are in danger, you will sabotage the action. The confidence that intimidates, that impacts, that transforms environments, does not come from ready-made phrases or appearance. It comes from the sum of four forces: accumulated victories, concrete examples, the right people, and a trained body. When these elements align, something changes profoundly. You stop wishing to be capable and start living as someone who knows they are. You stop rehearsing confidence and begin to carry it in every gesture, in every silence, in every decision. And the most surprising thing, the people around you will notice this even before you say a word. They will feel it, they will react. Some will distance themselves, others will come closer. But all, without exception, will recognize something rare in you: the presence of someone who operates at another level. If this has touched you in some way, if you realize that you need to rebuild your confidence from a new place, Write here in the comments, "I choose to build evidence." This will remind you and remind others that real confidence is not felt. It is built, brick by brick, pillar by pillar. And if you want to continue this transformation, watch the next video. It is the continuation of this journey. And believe me, you need to see it. Because if you have made it this far, it is because you are ready for much more than you imagine.